Slide. Where's the slideshow at? Slide. Because they ain't gonna be able to see the. Hold on. So make sure it don't move on me. I don't want to be talking and move or. Okay. Gotcha. Can you see it? Can you see that?
Yeah, I mean, you can see it.
Oh, you can see it clear?
Yeah,
the pictures? Okay. So we on? Alright, well, we just discussing signs and symbols and the relevance of these symbols and why we should recognize symbols as they are. There's hundreds and thousands and many signs and symbols around us that's being built and perpetrated or portrayed in our very being every day of our lives, but very so seldom we recognize these symbols. In fact, some of us take on these symbols without knowing the actual meaning to it. You know what I mean? Such as the cross and any other, symbol that we choose to adopt. It becomes sort of like a fad. But these symbols really have meaning to it. So when we breaking down symbols, what better way to break down symbols than go to the beginning? We're gonna go to the beginning. So what we dealing with is the Ankh. Now there's many signs and symbols in ancient Kemet, but we chose the Ankh because the Ankh is like one of the most I'm not gonna say important symbol, but one of the most recognized symbol in the world. People use the Ankh for various reasons, but this Ankh definitely had more meanings to what we believe. Like, for example, the Ankh was the key to the temple, the ancient mystery symbols. The ancient mystery temples. The priests held the key, and these keys hold the temple. These Ankhs were used as martial arts weapons. If you can remember, what's it, Donatello, Michelangelo, one of them ones that had the knives or whatever they were supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? You can imagine the Ankh was kind of like the first pioneer of that. Electricity, what I'm saying, was the Ankh. When you're dealing with electrical currents, of course, you're dealing with the Ankh. You can get a lot of that on YouTube. You type in electricity and the Ankh, you know what I'm saying? So, the Ankh was just not a symbol of just life. Of course, we know it to be life, but it was just much more than that. The Ankh was used in many different aspects, in many different ways. Of course, we break down what the Ankh actually means. You get the yoni, aka the womb, the ovaries, the penis. When those two come together, of course, we make feminine energy and male energy, in terms of reproduction. So, this is the symbol of the Ankh, this is our ancient symbol, our African ancestors came up with to describe or explain mathematics, the perfect circumference of duality, what I'm saying. Right there. Open it up. Of course, this is another example of the Ankh, or the process of the Ankh. You know what I'm saying? The symbol of life. The ancient Kemet symbol. But now we want to talk about how it gets distorted. And you see the sex relation symbols, the sex relation signs. You know, how we got heterosexual, and we know that you can clearly see the Ankh is passed off or distorted or used. The lesbian sign is just two Ankhs upside down, you know what I'm saying, inverted together. You know, but recognize these symbols though, because if you take away this is a symbol too that we're going to kind of get to. You know what I'm saying? So they hiding this, they putting this in front of our eyes, they're taking our symbols and distorting it. You know what I mean? But we need to be mindful. The double cross, this, you know, two Ankhs coming together. You know what I'm saying? Of course, to Eurocentric ideology, you know, represents lesbianism. You know what I'm saying? So this is the distortion of what it means. Let's go to this. You know, of course, we see the ancient Egyptian symbol Shin, which is the top half of the Egyptian Ankh. This is the Shin right here. So we recognize this Shin. Have we seen this Shin before? Or where have we seen this Shin before? Of course, it's been distorted. It's been taken from us. You know what I'm saying? It's been hijacked. Our ancient ancestors created these symbols for a purpose. And of course, we don't go back and study. So Europeans can come back, always come back, and get these symbols and distort it. So we talking about the Shin of the Ankh, also a symbol of the sun on the horizon, which represents Horus. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you hear horizon or sun or anything of those sorts, when it refers to ancient Kemet, it represents horizon. You know what I'm saying? But this is where we see the Shin or the Horus. So the white boy, which we know, Green Lantern, you know, back in the day, you do your homework, you know, for all the comic book heads, understand that Green Lantern was really black. You know what I'm saying? So it would make sense that he would wear the symbol of Horus. But look at this. This is not a black man. You know what I'm saying? This is a distorted Eurocentric ideology of who superheroes is supposed to be. Shout outs to the Black Panther. That's another topic we're going to deal with. But, you know, this is plagiarism. You know, when they say that Europeans didn't really create anything, this is a fact. But we can't recognize it because we don't know what's ours. So we're going to keep going. This is a symbol of peace. You know what I'm saying? And of course, this symbol have meaning to it too. We recognize it as the symbol of peace. You know what I'm saying? But let's dive deeper into it. This is the anti-nuclear symbol. It started life as an emblem of the British nuclear anti-movement, but it has become an international sign of peace and arguably the most widely used protest symbol in the world. It also been adopted, attacked, and commercialized. Many people have suspected on just what the symbol represents. Some religious zealots even claim its significance of Christ as Christ on the cross with arms broken, or the whatever the hell that is, represents death and despair. But the truth is not so mysterious. So we understand that this symbol started out as a British anti-nuclear, for the British anti-nuclear movement, you know, and of course it morphed into something of what is supposed to be peace, right? So let's deal with it. Now this is the Antichrist symbol. Antichrist symbol too, but do we recognize Jesus upside down with his arms broken, as it said before? So we getting different meanings in terms of what the birth of what this symbol actually means. In reality, this symbol was a anti-Christ symbol, which means that if you were a Christian, you will be murdered, and the people who murdered you had this symbol. This was their symbol. Jesus upside down with his arms broken. You know, so how many Christians or how many protesters who wears the symbol of life understand that it was actually the opposite, the symbol of death? This is about the symbol of life, the modern witchcraft, the intended, if one's a Christian, must take a ceremonial cross, then it's turn it upside down and break the crossbars downward to show he or she has rejected Jesus and his faith. Ignore Christ, wear This thinking is it is a sign of peace. The origins of the word peace was stamped on this because when a witch cast a spell, they got peace of mind after breaking the cross. So we understand that it became and this theory on how the peace symbol became peace, they're telling you that the cross became the peace symbol after the witch broke the arms of the cross to invoke some type of eternal peace. This is what they're telling us. Let's move on. We recognize these. This is Nazis. This is Hitler troops during World War II. The peace symbol was used by Hitler's 3rd Panzer Division from 1941 to 1945. The image is a regiment 3rd Panzer Division symbol. So we see peace right here. We see the peace symbol. Hitler adopts the peace symbol, and it's funny because what Hitler would do is he would draw this symbol on places of Germany that he did not want to be bombed, that he did not want the airplanes to drop bombs on, and it became the symbol of peace. So this is another theory or another aspect on how this symbol that we recognize became peace. But it's funny, Hitler had it though. That would show some type of contradiction when it becomes the peace, because we know that Hitler wasn't a man of peace necessarily. So we're dealing with the Oldsmobile. We see the Oldsmobile with the same type of peace symbol, but just in square. You know what I'm saying? Let's go keep it. Now, what we're talking about is symbols. In the world of advertisement, logos, designs, and branding is one of the key pillars of a company's identity. The amount of thought and work that goes behind the simplest of logos would boggle the mind of any avid investing outsiders. So what we're saying is, like, people, especially companies, have these symbols. We wear these symbols, but these symbols have meanings to it according to those who created the symbol. People don't just put symbols together and just say, it's a symbol. You know what I'm saying? There's spirituality. There's demonicnism. There's all kinds of energies that comes with one symbol. You take Kemet Flick symbol, for example. Those who know what Kemet is know that the ancient Greeks didn't come in knowing how to pronounce things. So they added vowels to the letters. They added A, E, I, O, U for the purpose of pronunciation. So you can spell Kemet, K-M-A-T, K-M-E-T, K-A-M-A-T. It all comes out. It all mathematically matches up, because Kemet or Kemet Flicks, this is what we're talking about. Kemet was spelled just K-M-T. There was no vowels until the coming of the European. Check. Well, we're going to skip this. So we're dealing with signs and symbols. And of course, the ancient Egyptians winged this symbol. The winged this symbol. Now, where have we seen this winged this from? Because this winged this is widely plagiarized, hijacked, and marketed in our face, but we don't know it's ours. So we're going to get to a couple of symbols of the winged this. In the entrance showing the pylon at Fu Temple, Afu, Egypt. The temple of Afu is the largest temple dedicated to falcon god Horus and Hathor of Dandara. So this is a temple that's dedicated to the god Horus and the goddess Hathor. But where do we see the first time we see the ancient sun disk or the winged disk is at that time, which they say 237 to 47 BCE. You know what I'm saying? So that's old. That's beyond any Europeans coming out the cave. You know what I'm saying? That's older than dirt. You understand what I'm saying? So we had symbols before Europeans had a shoe or even life itself. You know what I'm saying? But let's move on. This is where we see the plagiarism of the Sundays and car corporations, automobile corporations that take on these symbols as flight. They understand what these symbols mean. We don't understand what these symbols mean. You know, so allow, you know, these car companies, Bentley, Chrysler, Mini Coupe, Southwest Airline, you know, Astro Martin, and you know, just to come in, Harley Davidson, just to come in and pimp these symbols that belong to us, that our ancient ancestors gave us for a purpose of telling us stories or giving us some type of aspect of meanings of life, or naturistic tellings. You understand what I'm saying? So we're going to deal with the Viscous Pisces. The Viscous Pisces. Remember when we went back to the homosexual upside down Ankh with the woman inverted, with the Ankhs inverted, and I told you to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're talking about, the Viscous Pisces. The electromagnetic grid inside the mat is based on the sacred proportions of the Viscous Pisces, which is found where two circles merge exactly halfway. It is the sacred proportion found in all living things. So what we saying is, remember in school we used to get compasses. You know, we used to draw circles with the compasses. Well, those compasses was used for the mathematics of these buildings. How do you build a building? You would have to use a square and a compass. And if any Masons listening to us right now, they understand what I'm saying. So this becomes the sacred geometric key to all buildings or living mathematics. If we see science, and we see the egg in the woman's ovary with the sperm entering the egg, it becomes the Viscous Pisces. You get 2, 3. You see, understand? 2, 3. So this is what we're dealing with, and this is where the Viscous Pisces has been plagiarized, adopted. You know, they give us these life symbols like cools. Ain't no life in cools now. Come on, we talking about cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? But they're telling us this life in it. You know what I'm saying? These life in these brands, MasterCard. You know what I'm saying? These life in these brands, CBS and TWA and Gucci. And, you know what I'm saying? These life in these brands. You know what I'm saying? So automatically it's supposed to hit our subconscious. And we're supposed to vicariously go for these brands, not even knowing what it represents. You know what I'm saying? So we're dealing with the fish. We know what this is. The fish. You know what I'm saying? Jesus, fish. But we recognize this as a half of the Viscous Pisces. See, if you complete the circle, you get the Viscous Pisces. You get the womb in the Viscous Pisces. You understand what I'm saying? The point of the ovary, a worldwide symbol of the great mother goddess, because it represents the external genitals of the female. So we're talking about the womb. Again, the Viscous Pisces, the womb, the external of life. It's all around us. Can't hide this, but we don't know this. So we got to come and break this down. Of course, this is another aspect of the Viscous Pisces, or what we call the fish. And it's funny when we say that, you know, the females smell like fish. It comes from, you know, this is another topic for another day, but it's just interesting. You know what I'm saying? So we're dealing with these symbols. We're talking about symbols because architectural buildings are built based off this mathematic proportion of life building. You understand what I'm saying? We get the female delta, which is the triangle. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we know that the pyramids are built off of a triangle. It's a triangle. You know what I'm saying? We talking about the fish. We dealt with the Viscous Pisces, the double pointed ovary. We talking about the womb, the sacred geometric womb of the woman. You know what I'm saying? Or we're talking about the pearly gates. Now this is interesting because we're talking about the pearly gates. When we get married, we cross the threshold of the pearly gates. You know, these are another examples of what we call the double pointed ovary. You know what I'm saying? But these are all the major three religions that use the double pointed ovary. We're talking about Islam, the Torah. We know that this is the Jewish religion, of course, Christianity. You know what I'm saying? So they all pay homage to that one mother, you know, that one macro womb, that one sacred goddess. You know, it's funny, but these three religions is anti-goddess. You know what I'm saying? There's no goddess spoken when it comes to these three religions, but they give you the goddess aspect in their symbols. You know what I'm saying? It's just interesting. This is another symbol of a church who takes on the viscous Pisces, or what we call the pearly gates, crossing the threshold. We know that when we go to church, how the church is not how we supposed to feel going inside the church. So when we come out that church, we're supposed to be reborn. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that happened prior to coming to church don't even matter. You coming out the sacred womb every time church ends. Now you're reborn. Christians supposed to understand this. You're reborn to start another path, to start another righteous life, if that's what you profess. This is another aspect of the viscous Pisces and how it had to be built. You know what I'm saying? How it had to, these geometric shapes had to come together for life, or the building of life to be born. You understand what I'm saying? These are all just different aspects. Your mosques, you got your synagogue, you got your Christian church, have all aspects of this sacred womb. Meaning, like, once you come out, you're supposed to be a different person. This is Washington, D.C. And if you take an aerial view of Washington, D.C., it has the sacred womb right in the middle. But what is this? This is the Tekken, or what we call the ovulus. I call it the Tekken, but we call it the ovulus, right? This is the ovulus. Now, what are they telling us in this message? What is this is a sexual union going on in our very eyes. Now we understand that this is the largest monument, or the largest obelisk in the world. It's not the original, but it's the largest. You know what I'm saying? And what they was trying to tell us is the Washington Monument. George Washington had a big ass dick. That's what they just trying to tell us. But they built the sexual union right in the middle of Washington, D.C. So if you ever get that, you see the fish, you see the womb, you see everything in the middle with this big ass penis coming up out of it. Check? Okay. So now we was dealing with the threshold. When you get married, you cross the sacred arches. You know what I'm saying? This is the female delta. You know what I'm saying? The womb. When I love my loved one, and I take these vows, we come out, we're reborn again. So nothing in the past matters. You understand? You can't be bringing up old stuff from the past because you defile, or you divert it from the very meaning of crossing this threshold, if that's what you do. And of course, this is Eurocentric or ancient Egyptian or ancient Kemet ideology, or methods of being reborn. You know what I'm saying? But if you maybe perhaps take vows to that, then you're supposed to represent that. You know what I'm saying? Understood? You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to deal with a little bit of the 666. You know what I'm saying? What the mark of the beast is. Now, you know, I know a lot of people say, well, hold up. You know what I'm saying? We know what 666 is. You know, 666 is not what they tell us. It means melanin, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. I mean, 6 electrons and 6 neutrons. The carbon that makes up melanin. People's skin brown. So why does the Bible call us the beasts? You know, so this is what we want to dive in. You know, we want to kind of go into that, but you know, for the sake of it, we all understand that 666 represents 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons. You know what I'm saying? So you know, this is another just, you know, scientific symbol of what we're dealing with, and it's important for us to show imagery. You know what I mean? We do better by images. Like, how many of us actually read the stop sign? You know what I'm saying? Like, actually read stop. You know, nobody actually reads stop. We just know that the color and the shape means stop. You can take the letters from the very symbol and we'll still adapt to it the same way. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're saying, why it's important for us to constantly use symbols, colors. It's a reason why the motherfucking stop sign is red. You know what I'm saying? They use colors and symbols to guide our very aspect and our very beings. So we understand that. This is in the Bible. You know, I really don't want to read the Bible verse, but you get it. Y'all go up. Y'all can go check this out. Check this out yourself. It's in the Bible. You know, and this is basically where this whole aspect of what 666 is. You know what I'm saying? And the mark of the beast. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if we looking at it from a demonic aspect, then we're only looking at it from we're only looking at it from our religious aspect of our minds and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are 66 Bibles in the 66 books that makes up the Bible. Is that a coincidence? And what we're saying is Europeans have inverted this 6 into our realities, starting with the Bibles. You know what I'm saying? The European recognized that the Bible is the mark of the beast, which is 666. So we recognize it as what it is. You know what I'm saying? They're going to distort everything, like we said earlier. You know what I'm saying? So we know that melanin is the key component of life. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to tell us that melanin, or the mark, or what makes up melanin is the mark of the beast, and it actually means evil. So they turn in the opposite. You know, they turn in good and opposite. Up is down, left is right. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Nation of Islam theory on Yaqub deals with the same kind of 6s. You know what I'm saying? And if you know Yaqub's story, you know that the albinos stayed in the Caucasus Mountains and in the cave for 2,000 years. There they became savages, more or less shameless and psychopathic. They started to walk on their all fours and knees like animals and eat raw meat. They even ate each other and the babies. The albino tamed the wolf to live with them in the caves. The wolf became the dog, which then became the beast's best friend. Moses was sent to Europe to civilize the albinos. Once they were out of the caves, they went on a rampage throughout Earth, and Yaqub's 6,000 year of rule came into effect. They caused chaos and destruction everywhere they went. Now, the mathematics fit. What other beast or what other race of people causes chaos and destruction everywhere they go? I mean, that's not no coincidence. But what's really interesting is they saying that the graph or the myth to this theory says that it took 600 years to graft the European. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the black man is first, and of course we get light skin, and then we get the white man. You know what I'm saying? 6,000 years to graft this white man. Oh, 600 years. So we're talking about 1600 Pennsylvania Ave, which is Washington. Now, is it coincidentally, or is this a coincidence that Washington or the White House is 1600 Pennsylvania Ave? You might say, okay, you're reaching, whatever. Okay, let's deal with the Tekken or the Washington Monument. Now, we understand that they call this the pagan obelisk. But why is this pagan and this not? You know what I'm saying? This is the Washington Monument, and it's revered. Everybody come and look at this. But when we talk about this as Christians, this is pagan. It's kind of funny. Why would you want a pagan symbol? Is my question. But nevertheless, this is the oldest and this is the newest. This is the shortest. This is the biggest. This is actually 666 feet totality. 505 feet above ground and 101 feet underground. And it clearly displays that. If you look at it, if you do the mathematics or Google this, if you type it up, you'll find that the Tekken, or the Ovilus, the Washington Monument, is at 555 feet above ground and 101 feet underground. So the totality is 666. Did you know that your dollar bill is 6 inches long? Probably didn't know that. And it shows right here 6 inches, 6.14 inches, but there goes those sixes again. Okay, we want to deal with that. The eye, everybody understand what this is. Did we understand that when we die, we get buried 6 feet deep? We have 6 pallbearers take us to our graves. Our clock systems is based off of 6. 12, 6 plus 6 is 12. Our metric systems, our ruler systems, is based off of 6s. The highest inch you can get on a common ruler is 12 inches. Our keypads on our phones, 12 pads. 6 plus 6, 12. Okay. Eurocentric packaging system is based off of 6s. 6-pack, 12-pack, 18-pack, 24-pack. 6666. So they hiding this. They put this in front of us. You know what I'm saying? These are the corporations of the 6s. These are their logos. The Trilateral Commission has adopted the 6s. And they cleverly put it in our face. But again, if we don't know what symbols mean, we can always miss this. Their barcodes, and every packaging system has these 6 barcodes on it. What is this? You know what this is? Yeah, Google, right. This is Google. Do you see the 6s in it? You see the 6s. You know what I'm saying? Understand that even Google has adopted the ideology of these 6s. They putting us there. Where the 6s at in? You see the 6s in Disney? Hey Carlos, you see the 6s in Disney? You see it? You actually see the 6s? Huh? This is Disney 6s right here. And they say, well, okay, you probably reaching with that one, right? I'm reaching with that one, right? Okay. That seems to be the end. We're just gonna finish up next time. I obviously got the wrong file, but I think it's best to do a part 2. You know, because there's a lot of them out there, and I was just only heating up. So we probably just gonna do it next time. You know what I'm saying? I normally don't do this, you know, so whenever I feel like or get the motivation to get on and do something live, then I'll review some of my notes. But I just want us to think about some of the symbols that's portrayed in our face. I want us to go get Signs and Symbols of the Primordial Man by Albert Churchworth. That book is a book of jewels, and it'll help us figure out how these symbols were once nature symbols. And we can cleverly figure out how these symbols are now distorted and used and plagiarized against us. It can only be used against us if we don't know. So on that note, let us build, you know, let us be safe, and let us learn how to recognize and read signs and symbols of the primordial man. Black power.